Welcome back to another episode of I Came with Fire podcast. Today we have a true hero joining us. He's a symbol of resilience, a beacon of hope, and an embodiment of the human spirit. Please give a warm welcome to Israel Del Toro. Israel, it's an absolute honor to have you on the show and stuff. Your journey has inspired millions around the world. Obviously, you're coming out with a book called A Patriot's Promise soon, which we have right here, which was pretty good. And basically, before we kind of get too far into it, just kind of curious to how your day's going.
Well, it's been a very adventurous day. Anyone that's out here in the Colorado Springs area will know that we've had like nonstop rain, like for the past 3 days was flash flood. So,
Uh,
for me, yesterday started with finding, water spots on my son's ceiling in his room. Find out, it was, loose vent, the roof, so they fixed that, and then see that there's water in the basement. Thank God it's not finished yet. And thinking it's the roof, and the roof saying no, and going down to not today and seeing a lot more water, noticing it was soapy. I was like, that can't be from the outside. Then finding out that it was the pipe that goes out to the septic that was cracked because of all the water, all the rain at the ground kind of bent the pipe, and telling me that I get done till Monday. So I'm like, yay, it's got my in-laws who are 80-something-year-olds,
mm,
trying to tell them, hey, don't go to the bathroom for the next 5 days.
Yeah, the worst
So,
that's
timing ever.
oh, worst time. Luckily, I was able to get them, my family could stay in Bowie or Peterson the next couple of
yeah,
days.
yeah. Well, hopefully, while your in-laws are staying at the place, and they're trying to wake up and kind of get moving through the day, probably use a pick me up for one of our shameless plugs, which is Red Clover Coffee. Everyone that's listened before knows that if you use code I came with fire or came with fire, sorry, and you get 10% off your order with Red Clover Coffee. And we now have a second shameless plug. That's right, we're growing in shame. You can get sheep's clothing. So if you do got water leaking on you and maybe it ruins your shirt, get a new shirt at
Smart
Sheep's
idea.
Clothing using code FIRE10. That's word fire plus 10 for 10. And that'll also give you 10% off. But yeah, so we're really excited for you to be here for the podcast. And we're really excited to kind of hear about your story and stuff. For the people who don't know, we'll kind of delve into that. But I know both Brandon and I are very honored to have you on our podcast with. So thank you for being here, Israel.
Yes, thank
No
you.
problem. Yeah. Thanks for inviting me to come out here and, spend a couple minutes, you know, guessing and having a good time.
Yeah, of course.
Us too.
Usually this tends to be a pretty good time, so we
Yeah.
tend to have fun. So obviously, Israel, for people who don't know, your story is truly remarkable. You served as a special warfare operator in the United States Air Force, which shamelessly is the greatest branch. Um,
Hell yeah.
Displaying courage and dedication to protect our nation. Can you kind of share a bit about your experiences and the pivotal moment that probably maybe some people don't know that forever changed your life?
Joined the military at 22, it's, you go in, kind of grew up in that era where, your coaches still yelled at you. I played football and they grabbed you from your helmet and slammed you down. So me going to basic and getting yelled at was like nothing new. And then me
Yeah.
being Hispanic, that's even, nothing new. My biggest fear from TIs was, hey, they're gonna have a chancla and hit me with it. But, going and going through that, and then deciding to become a TACP. I not saying not all the other career fields are important in the military, but I grew up watching Rambo.
Hmm.
Who didn't want to be freaking Rambo back in the day? Long hair, chiseled body. Don't
Yeah.
actually I don't have hair anymore. My son says I have more of a dad bod. Back in the day,
Same.
that was the land of God. You know, you wanted to do, I wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
So when I heard it, I was like, dude, I want to try and do that. And I tried out. Got selected and went through basic and graduated and got to my first assignment there at Fort Bragg or Pope, or back in the day we called it No Hope Hope because Hope.
Yeah.
uh, and started to learn my craft on how to become an operator and call in airstrikes because it takes about 3 years
Hmm.
to be a fully qualified TACP. And I hated doing all the coordination and everything, and then right when the aircraft's about to come in, the instructor would take the mic from you and say cleared hot, and I'm like, really? Like, so my whole goal was to be that guy, to get in
Yeah.
that mic cleared hot, watch A-10s just either coming with the gun runs or with the bombs. It's just an amazing,
Man, that has to be so
you know,
amazing.
it's such a cool sight. And so
Yeah.
that's what I tried for. And yes, I knew it was a dangerous job. Obviously, you're going to be out there.
Hmm.
You're calling in airstrikes.
Yeah.
Going to send you where you
They
think
need
there's going to be
airstrikes.
trouble. Yeah. So, at your 20 something year old dude, you have no fear. You
Yeah.
know, and when you're a little kid, how many times were you getting on your bike and it's like, oh, I'm going to jump this ramp and hopefully I landed. And
Yeah.
now at our age, we're like, man, if I try and do that and I fall, that might hurt.
It's
You
called
live and learn.
experience and
Yeah,
wisdom.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Living and learning.
Yeah.
So, I trained to be that, and I wanted to be the best at it. And anytime I can go to a training CDY or head down range, I always volunteered because I wanted to be that guy.
Hmm.
And I got to do it for many years until the day I got hurt. And everything kind of changed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Man, I
So
had my
the
dad was my football coach a few times, more than a few times growing up. So I've definitely been grabbed by the face mask and told to pull the lead out of my ass or get moving.
Uh,
So I understand that for sure.
yeah, we definitely, and our generation definitely knows
Mm.
that tough love, you could say.
Yeah, builds
yeah,
character.
Those
I
character.
I remember in middle school I tried out for like football. I went to like one practice, and it's because I thought, oh, I want to be one of those guys. And they had us out there doing a whole bunch of like lay down and then like jump up and then like run around in place and lay down and then jump up. And I did it that one session. I was like, I'm never going back there again, and I never did.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
watching football, but I never played it. I was like, it's not for me.
The worst were the hills. Oh, I hated
Oh
doing
man.
hills.
Yes. Or
It was the
pushing the
worst.
sled up the hill.
Oh my God, and I mean, from the Chicago area,
Hmm.
the humidity in August at 2 days was the worst.
Oh
Mm,
yeah, dude.
mm,
Humidity makes everything worse.
it
Much worse.
does.
And all that grass in you, and you're just itching everywhere, and like you're
Yeah,
just hating life. And then,
absolutely.
I think of what happened to me. It's like, well, maybe it wasn't that bad.
Right? Rather have itchy grass.
All right.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man.
humidity definitely just sucks. When Gresham and I were in Kenya, it would get pretty humid there. You get really humid. We were there
Yeah.
in the wet season, so it's like humid all the time.
Right.
And they would normally let us just wear like our t-shirt with our vest, which is kind of nice because we cooled off. And I remember there was one day where it was like some colonel or general, I don't remember. Someone was coming through and they made us wear our full uniforms. And the whole day I was just miserable. I was like, I understand why we're doing this, but I was like, come on, like let's just do normal procedures. We don't gotta make it look all fancy because someone's coming by. Like let's just do normal procedures, please. I was mad.
Right.
I was
You know
mad
how
at
it
you
is.
actually, Gresham, when you told us we had to wear our tops because he was the flight chief and he was like, "You got to wear your tops tomorrow." I was mad at you. Just saying.
Hey man, we got to be flight chiefs. Got to be that guy sometimes.
Yeah, I'm aware.
He's that guy, huh?
Yeah,
That guy.
he's he's great when he's Brandon. He's kind of a pain in the butt when he's texting on Gresham.
It means I'm doing my job. Doing my
Right.
job.
No, we like texting on Gresham too.
It's like your pops, and he's like, Remember, boy, I'm your dad, not your friend.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard that before.
yeah, yep.
It's true.
It's funny. Younger me would never probably think my dad was my friend, but as I got older, like my dad is my best friend. So
Right.
that's that wisdom that comes with time and age. So it works out pretty well.
Good
That
old
is
Dan
true.
Smith.
Yep, Dan Smith. Um, so Israel, you ended your little thing there where you're talking about how you hurt yourself, right? That was, I believe, in 2005, correct?
Yeah,
Could
December 2005.
you probably told the story a million times, but for those who maybe don't know, could you kind of go in a little more detail of what happened, kind of why it happened, that type of stuff?
Yeah. So it was like right after Thanksgiving, we got orders. Uh, they're going to send me out with the scout team because again, they're going to send you out. I was the only TACP to support an SF team, two Army companies, and a scout team. So
Mhm.
they're going to send me to whoever they think is going to get into it. We got a mission that scouts that we're going to go to the area. There's going to be a high value target that we had to capture, kill, and destroy a supply route. So we head out like I want to say December 1st, I want to say, and we get air assaulted in. Then our dirt bikes get dropped in. A vehicles get dropped in, air assaulted in, and we're out there a couple days and nothing. We kind of take over this little compound, and we're pretty much like in a bow, man. So we got mountains all around us, and our interpreter was getting icon chatter saying that these guys see us when we go on foot or we get on the bikes or we go on the trucks. So they were hanging out on the mountaintops because again we're in a bowl.
Yeah,
So our young lieutenant, and I mean this guy was fresh out of I want to say West Point. You
getting
know,
lost at land nav.
oh my God, he would. I remember one time
Boulevard.
he was taking like a selfie. Well, we didn't have selfie sticks back then, but
Yeah,
selfies with next to an IED. And we're like,
Oh,
dude,
it's
what are you
good.
doing?
Yeah.
I was
it's
like,
this sounds like Lieutenant.
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. It's most lieutenant thing to do.
So the LT says, you know what, guys, we're gonna go out, and I had my airman with me, and I knew it was, just by us discussing, I knew it was gonna be possibly dangerous. I'm like, you're gonna stay behind, just as backup, and I'm gonna go out because we're gonna take half of the scout team, which half of it would have been like 10 guys in two vehicles, and out of that half, we're gonna go late afternoon, and out of those 10, five are gonna go late afternoon up the mountain, stay there, and the other five, which was my guys, are gonna be Overwatch. Because again, they were watching us. So the plan was that as these guys came up, the Taliban came up during the day up the mountains, my guys would, get a hold of them. Then they had us as backup.
Mhm.
We had been out there, a couple days, and that night prior, I can still remember, man. It was just like the clearest night, man. You could see every freaking star, But you're up, you got to do 1 hour on, 2 hours of sleep, with our rotation.
It's almost like
But
the calm before the storm.
yeah, it was.
It's a great way to put it.
I sometimes compare it to like when Forrest Gump, when he's describing all his events he's seen, he
Uh-huh.
talks about, Vietnam when it stopped raining, all of a sudden, you can see every star.
Yeah,
Hmm.
And that's what it felt like.
it
And
really is.
so the next morning, we get to ANA, some Afghani National Army, and we go hit this town, and my DLT sees like a Taliban up on the ridge, and we try to go after him. We go, and we get to the base, and he talks about, all right, we gotta go capture this guy. And I was like, all right, who do you want to go with you? You know, and he says, I want you, DT, and the interpreter. In my head, I'm thinking, you want your only fire support element to go with you, and the interpreter who has no weapon. I was like, and again, in my head, I'm thinking, I swear to God, if I get shot, I'm gonna shoot you right in the ass. You know, and,
Take
and
a
we get
selfie
up
with that.
there. We get up there, and we're about, I want to say about 200 meters from him. And I was like, sir, I got the shot. He's like, no, DT, we're gonna get him. We're gonna try and capture him. That's we're 200 meters away, but it's like all jagged rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone that's gone downrange knows that, man, those Taliban guys, they can be in flip flops, but man, they go up those mountains like they're goat gods. They're just freaking, they take off. And I knew they were going to be gone. And yeah, they were gone by the time we got to where they were at. At this time, the guys that were up on the mountain to call radio back, like, hey man, we want to get resupplied. To come, resupply us. We're like, roger that. So we're driving back, and we're in the lead vehicle. LT's driving. I'm on the TC, and we have our gunner up in the turret. And we cross this creek, and no more than 200 meters after we cross this creek, I feel intense heat blast on the left side. And I'm like, holy shit, we just got hit. And I talk about how people always say that their life flashes in front of them in situations like that. And, at the time I never believed that. I'm like, yeah, right. Dude, it wasn't like I guess you could say like a flash, but for me, it felt more like a little movie reel, when they did the little, you see every
Yeah.
little clip, like, da, 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 da. But the most distinctive ones were things that were going to happen that hadn't happened yet. Like me and my wife finally getting married by the church or through the church, after our third attempt, because every time we tried, I get deployed. Us honeymooning in Greece. And then the last one, man, the last one that really stuck was me teaching my boy how to play ball. I love playing ball. Then something inside me says, you got to get out of this truck. Get out of this truck. And I up the door, get out of the truck. But when I got out of the truck, man, I was on fire from head to toe. But I knew that, man, that creek was behind me. I turned into it, but the flames overtook me, man, and I collapsed. And I'm laying there, burning, thinking, I'm going to die here. I broke my promise to my family that I always come back. Broke my promise to my son that I'll never let him grow up without his dad like I did. Most importantly, I'm going to break my promise to my dad that I made to him that I always would take care of my family. And you might have heard, I might have busted on the LT a little earlier, but unless I yelled out loud that I'm going to die here, and that's when he says, DT, you're not going to die here. It helps me up and throw some dirt on me, helps me up. We both jumped in the creek, and the sound that I heard was the same sound you hear when you put a hot pan in cold water. That sizzle sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, my medic was trying to take care of me because it was a planned ambush. As soon as they hit us, these guys know who call in the airstrikes. They look for the radios or the vehicles that have the antennas. They look for the guys that have the radios. They want to take us out before they do anything. And they hit me. The guys that were up on the mountain, now they're getting hit with a crossfire. Now they're calling back, hey, where's Gunslinger? We need CAS. We need close air support. So when the medic was trying to take care of me, dude, I'm okay. I'm looking at myself. I got all my limbs. All I asked him was he's like, dude, cut off my Ranger panties. You know which ones they are, the little running shorts.
Yeah.
Cut them off, man, because the elastic was burning, my inner thigh. I was like, and as I said, take care of our gunner because he got blown out and Humvee had rolled back on his legs. I was like, besides, my guys, again, remember what my tet said, take care of your family. Well, my teammates, yes, they're Army, but it doesn't matter. Once we're downrange, No matter if you're
Those are,
Army, Navy, Marines, we're all brothers and
yeah,
sisters at downrange. We take care of
yeah,
each other, and
that's your
Absolutely.
I had to take
family.
care of my family.
Hmm.
Uh, so I had to figure out what to do because my radios around me were destroyed. My backup radios in the Humvee were destroyed. Luckily, one of the other scout guys had an embedder. I just say, hey man, repeat everything I say, so we can get some aircraft in here, get on this frequency. And by the last transmission that went out, that's when I started having a hard time breathing. I would never stand in front of anyone and say that I had nerves of steel like Rambo, that I didn't get scared. But once it was just like crazy how that last word that I told him to repeat, that's when I guess the adrenaline went down. That's when I started having a hard time breathing. That's when I started getting scared.
Hmm.
Like, dude, where's this medevac? And I was just getting tired and I just wanted to sleep. And I remember telling Bailey, our medics, like, hey man, just let me lay down for a minute. Let me close my eyes for a bit.
Yeah, they don't want to let you do that.
And he knew, even though I didn't think I was badly injured, he knew I was. He's like, if I let you fall asleep, you're never going to wake up.
Yeah,
So he used whatever he could to keep me up until that medevac came.
that's a good medic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember they wanted to carry me up to the helicopters. Like, oh, hell no, dude. I walked into this fight. I'm going to walk out. Well, I kind of hobbled, into the helicopter and
I
just,
think that's
just
okay.
laying there. It's like, and the first thing in my mind is like, oh my God, I'm going to get some good drugs and I can fall asleep for a little bit. That's all that popped
Monitored
in,
sleep. Oh, that's funny.
right? I remember it being in and out of the flight. I remember landing in our fob, going into our little field hospital, seeing rest of my team there. The doctor cutting off my watch, telling me you're gonna be okay, and that was March or December 4th, 2005. I wake up March of '06.
Damn.
You were in a coma for like 3 months,
4 months,
4 months. Wow.
4 months, and it's crazy because being a coma doesn't really hit you until like a year after, and
Hmm.
things happen while you're asleep.
Yeah.
Like I remember, like I said, I'm a big ball player guy. I love baseball, uh, and I remember watching ESPN like January of 2007, and hearing it was the 1 year anniversary of Kirby Puckett's death. I'm like, how did Kirby Puckett die? Oh yeah, he
Oh
Mm.
died
man.
when I was a coma.
Yeah.
That's when it hits you. It's like, man, I got 4 months of my life. Anything remotely important to me
Yeah.
happened, I wouldn't remember.
Gone. Wow.
So you don't remember anything from your coma, like people trying to talk to you or anything? Is there
Yeah.
some snippets?
I remember in your book you were saying that George Bush visited you, and you don't even remember that. Your wife had to
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah, like it's it was a funny story because it was I think I was as I woke up in March and it was like probably April timeframe when one of the other guys in the hospital was getting their Purple Heart.
Hmm.
Like, man, that's cool. It's like I was like, I wonder when I'm going to get mine. And my wife's like, you did. I'm like, when?
Oh.
Well, President Bush gave it to. He's like, oh, I'm glad I kind of don't remember that. I was like,
You're like,
Yeah.
well,
honey, you got a
doesn't count
picture?
if I don't remember it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, but that story about President Bush. So if anyone doesn't know, like a severely burned guy, it's not really the burns that are going to kill you; it's the infection.
Infection.
Yeah.
So when you're burned, you're pretty much skinned alive.
Hmm.
And now that you don't have your outer layer of skin to protect you, you keep that room at like a 98 degrees. Anyone that comes in has to be covered from head to toe.
Wow.
And I remember my wife telling me that when President Bush came, first he talked to her in Spanish, and he told her before he came in, don't try and hug him, don't, just say hello, sir. He like gave her a hug and spoke to her, and then went in my room and stayed there for 20 minutes just talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my wife's like, he stayed in there longer than most of your family ever did, you know,
Wow,
or any of your friends. And
it's
so I
powerful.
always tell people, you know, it doesn't matter what you'll think of president's policies, but one thing you can never take away from that, he didn't love his guys because he loved all his dudes, you know,
Yeah,
and it showed being in that room for 20 minutes, you know, covered from head to toe.
yeah,
You know, that was a cool, you know, experience that I
it
don't
is.
remember.
Yeah,
Wow, powerful too. Not
And
that many
like I said,
people
it was,
meet the president, so
I guess
and
have a
it took,
relationship now.
yeah, yeah. We, you know, I went to his, like he invited me to his farewell speech when he left office, and then he, you know, we just became friends, and you know, he will call me, and he likes to talk shit. He loves talking smack.
That makes sense about
It,
George
yeah, he
Bush.
does.
about about W.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, there's one time, you know, I was in the gym. I had a PCS out here to Colorado. He calls me up. It's like, DT, what are you doing? I was like, well, I'm at the gym, sir. I was like, why'd you leave God's country? Well, sir, I'm still active, you know. If you didn't, you know, you were still, maybe could have done something, keep me in Texas, you know, if you don't want me to leave Texas.
Yeah.
And then there's another time when he painted me in his portraits.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, I had flown with him to New York to do an interview. I think it was one of those Good Morning Americas or the
Mm.
Today Show, one of those things, one of those shows. And we're flying back, and he's just busting my chops. He normally doesn't. And I was like, sir, I will kick your ass. And it was funny. His
You're the
chief of
president.
staff, his chief of staff, Freddie, looks at the Secret Service. And you know, by this time, me and the president have known each other, God, 10 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he looks at Freddie tells the Secret Service guy, hey guys, he just threatened the president. And you know, obviously the Secret Service know who I was. I'm like,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
We'll,
Oh, that's funny.
we'll let him get a couple licks and then we'll stop him.
Yeah.
right.
Right.
Then we'll tackle him.
Yeah. He's earned them.
But it's funny how many people can say, I told the president I'm going to whoop his ass.
Probably not a lot of people.
Right. But you know, he's a great dude, man. He likes he's like a typical one of the guys, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get that feeling from. There's a like presidents are not allowed to drive, and they like can't drive ever again after they're president either. There's like some stupid rule. And there's like the one interview where George Bush is like on his like acreage in Texas, and he's like, "It's the only place I can drive, so I just drive around I just drive around my land in my truck." He's got like his F two
Right?
fifty. He's just
Yeah.
driving around Texas on his land.
Oh, I
You
don't know
would
if I
miss
could.
it.
I know
Yeah,
I would. And I was like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm a big car guy, and like, you tell me that
Mm-hmm.
never drive again. I'm like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna break that rule.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
I'm gonna sneak out like a teenager, and I'm like, I'm
Right.
gonna go drive around the block.
I know. Secret Service, like, where'd he go?
There's George Bush again. He's on his way to McDonald's.
Oh, jeez.
He snuck out again.
That's funny. Um, so obviously your book is a page. It's called A Page's Promise, and you alluded to how you made these promises to your family and your loved ones and your father and stuff. Um, you do a lot of like speeches and kind of help a lot of people with being resilient and mental health and that type of stuff. With doing all of that, what kind of like stirred you to want to write a book? What made you go, I need to put this in ink. I need this to be read. What kind of made you decide to do that?
Well, to be honest, man, it was like people since I want to say it was almost like 2009 when really started to hone my craft in speaking. People started asking me, I know, Toro, you need to write a book. And I'm like, dude, I'm like in my 30s. I'm like, still got so many journeys, so many adventures. I'm going to write a book. It's like, dude, I don't even like reading. I'm going to write a book. And so people kept hounding me for years. Every time I was speaking, when are you going to come out with a book? When are you going to write a book? I don't know. Whenever I get to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I'm busy hanging out with the president. I'll get to it
Right. Yeah.
later.
and then when COVID hit, because I had retired August 2019, and I was still speaking,
Mm-hmm.
then COVID hit, and all my speeches were like canceled.
Mm.
So, well,
Time.
got nothing else to do, and so luckily I had a friend who had just done writing her book, and I asked her because she's a news anchor
Mm-hmm.
out here in Colorado that also kept bugging me about me writing a book, and she kind of introduced me to a ghostwriter because I know myself. I can tell my story. I can speak for an hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
and still not hit every detail like in the book.
Hmm.
You put me in front of a computer and have me write it. I'll start with the word "duh." 6 hours later, I'll still be at the word "duh."
That sounds like me.
But I, right, but I really wanted to write it afterwards because anyone that has heard me speak, I speak about my dad and how influential he was towards me, and how I lost him at the age of 12, and the last night before his death, me being the last one to speak to him, he tells me, promise to always take care of your family. 12-year-old kid thinking, all right, dad,
Yeah.
sure,
Okay.
Yeah,
uh,
got it.
got it. And I think the next day, you're coming home from school and you have your two older cousins waiting there for you, and telling your mom that your dad had passed.
Yeah.
So, I hinted it when, I talked about earlier about my teammates needing help out there, my family. Yes, that promise first involved my brother and sister, my mom, and then when my mom passed a year and a half after my dad, my brothers, sisters, and then my when I joined the mill, my teammates. Then it started evolving to, when I getting hurt, those wounded guys that were there, and then anyone that felt like they had a bad day. I felt that, what, we all have a spark, I like to say, and sometimes we can find it on our own. Sometimes you may need to hear a story of someone going through something and how they overcame, how they didn't give up,
Yes.
and I felt, you know, what better way to honor my dad and hit the promise I made to him, and to write this book and try and help as many people as I can, because I can do all the speaking, but like a book can be out there, an
Mm-hmm.
audio book can be out there, so someone can hear the story instead, or instead of I'm trying to catch me at a location where I may be speaking. Then again, in the speech, you can't go so much into detail like a book, uh, and I felt I needed to do this because I never saw myself, even to this day, when people like call me a hero or inspirational. I'm like, dude, I'm just DT. I like to hang out with my friends. I like to have my whiskey and coke once in a while, play some Call of Duty and talk smack, you know,
With the
on the
president.
mic, right?
With the
uh,
president.
the
Does W
president,
play Call of Duty?
I don't think he plays Call of Duty.
Oh, okay. Just
He's
had to
missing
uh,
know.
out.
it would be cool. I should have just said, yeah, oh yeah, I will be
Yeah,
texting.
totally, man.
I was like, you suck at this, sir.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I always feel uneasy because again, I don't see myself in that light, and but it didn't really hit me until I remember I was doing a speech at McGuire. The whole base was there, leadership, everyone from the base was there, And usually I open up for question and answers, and sometimes people ask me questions, and sometimes people wait till afterwards, when they're coming through the line and shake my hand and say hi or take a photo,
Mm-hmm.
to ask me, or sometimes they'll wait to message me over social media. They don't want other people to hear.
Yeah.
But this time, this young lady, this young airman, I think she was a A1C,
Mm-hmm.
stands up and said, Sergeant Toro, I've tried to end my life many times. But hearing how you never quit through all those obstacles that went through your life, and you kept fighting, and you talk about it, they also having bad days and not letting that overcome you. You gave me so much hope. You gave me that fight to keep fighting. And I just
Wow.
want to thank you. That was the first time it really hit me how people hear me and see me in this inspirational role. Before that, I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. But to see that young Aaron stand up in front of all her leadership,
Mm-hmm.
in front of all her base, and say that she's tried to kill herself many times. Now, how she found the will to keep fighting, and my story, I was like, that's why I really wanted to, write it, because
Wow.
I never would tell anyone that I did it on my own. In my book, you'll hear, never did it on my own. I
Yeah.
have my
Mm.
teammates on my side. I have my family, friends, you know, and even when I have bad days, they will get me out of it. Even the one, I like to say my darkest hour, I have my therapist,
Yeah. Well, I have a really good friend. Him and I were at Malmstrom together, and I guess at some point you were at Lackland and you gave a speech. Maybe you're at the Security Forces Academy, or somewhere. But when he was in tech school, I guess he watched you give a speech. And when I told him that you were coming on, he called me like immediately. He didn't even respond to my text, and he was just like, "Dude." He's like, "You have Israel Del Toro coming on," and I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We're gonna talk about his new book," and he's like, "Man," he's like, "I will never forget listening to him talk." He's like, "That is so cool," like, and so like, just that was one of my first impressions of you through somebody else, and it was, you know, I think that's really neat. You did like that. That had to have happened probably 12 plus years ago. And I told him that, and it, elicited that much excitement in him to know, that you were coming on with us. So you definitely, clearly, obviously, your book is very good, but you must be a very good public speaker as well. If somebody calls me ASAP and says, just how excited they are that you're coming on, and describes remembering you talking at tech school is pretty cool.
It's it is crazy, People remember it,
Mm-hmm.
see you in that light. It's touching. Again, I see myself as a regular old DT man,
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to help people through the journey I went through, makes it worth all that pain and suffering I went through to be able to help someone. Because I'm a realist. I get it. I'm not gonna be able to help everyone, but those one or two that really do truly need it, it's so worth it. So
Yeah.
worth it.
Yeah.
I
There's
think
And
the fact that when you hear about somebody who's been through something traumatic and come out the other side, to hear them say that they see themselves as a regular person, is it's helpful to hear somebody else say that too, because if you hear somebody, you have this image of somebody who you're kind of looking up to, and you hear them say that they're a regular person, you feel like that goal of being okay is now more attainable, because you may view yourself, I'm a regular person. If he can do it, if she can do it, I can do it.
and that's what I try and do. I never, wanted to think, be a person that thought like their shit don't stink. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it does. It's like everyone else's, man. It's like, and luckily I have a wife that kind of, I was like, slow your roll, slow your roll.
Right. Yeah.
Uh, because I remember meeting one of my like baseball heroes and him being such a butthole. And I was like,
Ghost.
man, I never want to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I won the ESPY, and me being on stage, and I had all these people reach out to me.
Hmm.
I want to say I had like 900 plus messages.
Wow.
It took me weeks, but I got back to everyone saying thank you because I thought it was important. I was like, if they had enough time to just say thank you to find me, I could take some time and return and say thank you for those kind words.
Not everyone would have done that.
It was long.
Yeah.
there,
I'm sure it
there's
meant something to all those people.
and because I know I would have, because we've all been fans of somebody.
Hmm.
If you had reached out to someone you thought was so cool, and they sent you something back, you were like, oh hell yeah,
Hmm.
So I always think of that, I always think
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I'm still that kid, man. That if Sylvester Stallone freaking gave me a car, sent me something, I'll be, you know,
Yeah.
going now, bro. I was like, Rambo,
Yeah.
Rocky's calling me, bro.
Yeah. Right.
You
Oh
be putting
man.
on your own like red bandana, walking around your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
Right?
hey, hey,
you
yo,
know,
DT, we did it.
right? That I think that way, because I just never want to think like I'm better than anyone because I just never think I was. It's the whole saying. You're never gonna put your troops to do something you're not willing to do,
Hmm.
and that's what I've lived by that.
I'm noticing a
That's great
trend
advice.
here. Um, you kind of talked about how, like you said, you're just DT. You're not a hero. You're not anyone more special or anything like that. You're just the guy who did his job and did what was right. Right. We had Rob Gutierrez. His whole motto was like, "Do your job. Just do what you're supposed to do." And he was shot at and was still doing his job. You were literally engulfed in flames, still doing your job. Dan Schilling was kind of something of the same mantra, talking about how just enjoy life and that everyone's just a human being. You even talking about your experiences with the president, right? George Bush.
Hmm.
Him just talking to you and goofing with you, those are stories that make him, yeah, he was the president of the United States, but
Humanizes him.
he's just a dude that was the president of the United States and was just trying to do the right thing. I think it's important for people, like Gresham was saying, that when you realize that these very powerful people like yourself or the president or Dan or Rob, like they're all just normal people who were just trying to do the right thing, and everyone else can be just as great and just as attainable to their greatness. So,
Hmm.
Yeah, the things that I use sometimes hear people like, "And I couldn't do what you did." You don't know that. You can
mm-hmm,
probably do it and maybe excel me.
mm-hmm,
No one
Hmm.
knows until you're put in that situation.
Yeah.
The thing is, like I just tell everyone, we all have that spark, man. You got to
I like that.
find what drives you. Mine was simple. Was my boy, because again, I lost my dad when I was young, and I never wanted that to happen to my boy.
Hmm.
So, any father, especially, you got Father's Day coming up, can relate to that. You know, your kids are your everything, and it was mine everything. And
Absolutely.
who I would have never thought a kid from that side of town would be the person he is now. Would I have ever thought that? Hell no. Would I ever thought I have friends with multiple presidents to royalty celebrities? Hell, no.
Yeah.
You know, no, I never would have thought that. You just try and do the best and be you, man, and keep living life, man, and have fun with it.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
You know, again, at a young age, I learned that you're here one day, next you may not, and I just try and enjoy life like it's my last one, man. The big man knows when it's your time, and
Absolutely.
man, that time,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have some fun.
yeah.
Sometimes my wife tells me, "He's like, slow your roll on your fun, all right? You're not." I was like, "Shut up, woman! I'm burned. No one can tell how old I am."
Oh, that's awesome.
I love your sense of humor. It's great.
Dude,
You're
yeah,
just
absolutely.
You're just loving it.
Well,
That's awesome.
you gotta have fun, man. It's like, yes, this sucks what happened, but you gotta laugh about it. I remember, being in therapy and, you're freshly injured, you're fresh at work, you really can't do much. You see the older guys that have been there longer and just josh and have a good time. I'm like, and if they can have fun and laugh about what happened, so can I. I remember one time walking into the therapy room and, the burn center, and I'm like, is someone cooking meat up in here? And, obviously all the guys are just dying laughing at the therapist and the family members, the loved ones are like, oh my God, did you hear what you just said?
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
uh, but you gotta, even, when we were one time all together, a bunch of us, the burn guys, we are gonna have a cookout. And if, instead of saying medium well or medium or well done, we're just using guys' names. Whoever was like more burned, more percentage burned was the well done one.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
like a medium well,
Yeah, yeah. Oh
But
my, you have to.
you gotta have fun. You gotta, and that's what I wanted to also include in the book, that humor,
Yeah.
Hmm.
because it's very healing. It really is. It helps the soul, man. Being able to laugh again is so healing. And that was the thing that I hate. I hate to be the name drop guy, but yeah, I remember Jon Stewart saying,
Hmm.
"Et, let people know how funny you are. Put that in your book."
Hmm.
And I was like, "I got it, John. I got it. You don't got to tell me, old dude. I got this." You know, but that's the thing. It's like I wanted to show that. It's like, yes, it sucked what happens, but I can still laugh, have fun in life, and God forbid anyone goes through what I went through, but at least they know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm.
And you'll laugh again and live life. Yes, it may be a little different, but hey, man, you're here. You know,
I love that.
yeah. A day above ground is better than a day below it.
No shit.
Yeah. Life's a gift, so cherish it for sure.
Yeah, and Jon Stewart has done so much good work, especially for veterans and then the 9/11 first responders. And that dude has so much passion for that. It's honestly incredible to see.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I remember more like my more liberal friends,
Hmm.
family members always say, "How are you and Jon Stewart friends?" Like, what do you mean? You guys are complete opposites. What you think? I'm like, okay. I was like, yes. I was like, he's more liberal, and I'm a little more conservative. Yeah, we will debate, but we don't disrespect each other. But if I can't be friends with them, then you're my family just because and again, I'm from Chicago, so a lot of my family's very liberal. Did
Hmm.
I not talk to you? And so it baffles that, I have these friends from all angles of the world, and I was like, what's the matter? If you have a common cause, like John, take care of wounded service members, take care of the 9/11,
Hmm.
families, firefighters, police officers.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter. We have a lot of things that you may not have in common, but that one that you guys have, you can come together and help. And why wouldn't you do it? No.
And I think you just touched on something that I found very common about military members in our community in general, is that when you're in the military, you sit around a lot, right? Hurry up and wait, and you get into these conversations with people, and they go to politics sometimes. And at the end of the day, I think just the fact that we all know that we are a family, it doesn't really matter what your political leanings are, and we really can be friends with anybody no matter what our differences are. And that's something that I see in the military community a lot. So when you say like your family or other people, like how are you friends with them, it's like that just comes natural. I have friends that are military that are extremely liberal or extremely
Hmm.
conservative, and I may not agree with everything they say, but that doesn't matter, and that's I feel like that's just a part of the military community.
Yeah, for us, and we don't care
Hmm.
where you're from, what color, who you believe in, blah, blah. all we care if you know how to do the mission and you have my
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Literally
If
it.
you're a dirtbag, we don't care. We want
Yeah.
you out.
Yeah. There's
First
that.
word of it,
Yeah.
you know, you can do your job. We don't care
Yeah.
where you're from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Again, our name tag says U.S. U.S.
Yeah.
Army, U.S. Navy, U.S. Marines, U.S. Air Force, you know, Space
Yep.
Force, a galaxy far, far away, you know.
Right.
Uh, we all have that U.S. there.
Yep.
And, you know, we're all trying to do the common, take care of each other. And that's how I always see it.
That's something
Yeah.
my TA said to us at Basic was, that's what's over your heart, that U.S. Air Force, and that's your family now. And I remember that very well. I say
I,
that to people.
my TI told me the same thing. It was like during Beast Week or something.
Hmm.
I don't remember peace. That was back in '97. I can't. I don't even remember what it did yesterday.
I don't think there was a Beast Week.
No, something. It's the yeah.
I was the beast.
Heck,
It was Del
absolutely
Toro Week.
right. Del Toro week. I like that.
Speaking about the tour, I remember in Randolph, they were telling me that they were gonna name a room in my honor.
Mm.
I'm like, oh, cool, it's cool, I was like, I was honored. They were asking like little mementos of mine that they can display, and then like months later, like we decided we're gonna name the building the redeployment center after you. In my head, I'm like thinking, am I dying? You guys know something I don't know about? Because usually someone has to be dead, have a building
Right.
named after.
That's
You
kind
know,
of true.
are you guys not telling me something that I should know?
Right.
Should I start making my will? Saying bye to my loved ones? Like,
Need
no,
you update
DT,
your
we thought it was,
VRED.
right.
Yeah.
That was, funny. That was, you know, finding that out. I was like, holy shit, I got a building named after me. And
It's kind of cool
now
though.
I got a freaking basic training flight named after me. I remember
Yep.
my son talking about, Dad, I, I, I want to join the military and I want to do what you did. And I tell him, like, buddy, I would love for you to be a legacy. I would love it. Nothing more than anything. Your mom may not like it, but I would love it. You have the exact same name as your dad.
Hmm.
Your dad has a basic training flight named after him. He has buildings, flight rooms, NCOAs,
Hmm.
named after him. And everyone there in the special warfare knows who your dad is.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking in my head, I was an instructor, and if I knew I had a buddy's son, and he was going through the course and was sucking, I'll be on him so hard. I was like, dude, I know what your dad went through. Are you freaking serious? You can't do another push-up?
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want you to go through that.
Yeah.
As much as I would love you to, you do your own thing, man. I was like, do your own path. I was like, but I remember he was almost like heartbroken when I told him that, not to become a TACP. And again, I just told him, like, son, it's like, you got to understand who your dad is
Yeah.
and how he's known in the Air Force. If you went to the Marines, Army, Navy, got it. If you went to special operations in one of those, then people are going to know who your dad is.
Yeah.
I was like, do your own path, son. Go to college. You know, but again, yeah, he's a junior in college now. He'll be a senior this coming year. You could say, okay, Dad, but most of us at that age, like, whatever, dude, I'm going to do whatever I want, anyways. So, he may end up, going in and becoming a ZACP, which I'll be psyched about it.
Hmm.
Of course, I'll be sneaking into, if he does, sneaking into like the course and maybe be an
Yeah.
instructor for it, plus my son's balls. Are you
Yeah.
serious, boy?
I, I
Yeah.
think that's you'd have to do that. I don't think you could live after that if you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
Just
like,
show up. Just wake him up one morning at 02 a.m. and just be like, get the fuck up.
Like, oh, you thought you were
We're
going to
just
sleep in today?
Yep. Did that? How much of a trip would that be? You wake up at a like after 2 hours of sleep, and there's your dad. Be pretty
You know,
wild.
it only be worth it for that day because you know he'll call his mom,
Oh
and
right,
then
yeah,
and
exactly,
I'll be hearing it from her. Really, you went to go do that to our son? I'm like,
right. Hell yeah.
yes,
well, what you gotta do is
you
you gotta like
it's
mess
worth
with
it right
him.
now.
What you gotta do is you gotta like mess with him like early in the morning, like late at night, but then have it set up to where all the instructors like deny you were ever there. So like he thinks he's going
There you
crazy that like you
go.
messed with him in the morning,
Right?
and then you
Perfect,
leave, and everyone is like, he was never here. What are you
dude.
talking
You're
about, man?
hallucinating. You're just tired.
Your brain's playing games with you, bud.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get running.
No,
So
you know, it's you know, it's cool that my son has thought of doing that, and he still plans on doing the military. If he goes to become a tech P,
mhm.
so be it, or if he goes in to do another job, because he's studying to be, his major is criminology. He wants to be a detective or work at one of the three-letter agencies. So he doesn't
Well,
want my help. Like he doesn't want dad. Don't use any of your connections. I'm like, most people want their dad's connections.
It's
Yeah.
I
true.
was gonna say
Yeah,
you
yeah.
now know a really great recruiter, so I mean I could.
Right.
I mean, he does also know former presidents too. So like,
That's
there's
two.
that. You know.
I'm not saying I compare with President Bush, but I'm a
I
pretty
was
good
like, but I'm
recruiter.
close. I'm
Yeah,
President Bush, me. I'm
yeah,
right
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
there.
yeah. It,
Exactly.
it's Bush, me, then Cheney.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Have
Just
you
don't
been
stand
drinking
in that
over
rain.
there?
I know, right?
Yeah, just water, just water.
Water.
Man, so I've always wondered what the mental health, seeking mental health was like in the special operations community, because I know for like the security forces community, there up until recently, it's just a really big stigma behind it, and I was just wondering. I've always wondered how that people were looked at seeking help for mental health there in the special ops community. What that's like.
I like to say like for our career fields, yes, it's hard physically, but I like to say a lot more. It's mental.
Hmm.
I always like to use the analogy I remember Bruce Smith used when people asked him how hard is football.
Hmm.
It's like you know he said 3% physical, 97% mental, and I like to say it is because you get hit constantly mentally. Are you gonna quit? Are you gonna quit? Are you gonna keep going? And it gets you to that area where when I got hit, it just clicked. I'm like, boom, I got to do what I got to do.
Hmm.
Uh, and and for us, yeah, we have guys that go through it and break, and we try and catch them before they go down range.
Hmm.
That's you want your teammate to crack under the pressure because not only will him killed, he'll get his team killed.
Right.
When we come back, for me, people always ask me, how hard was it for you?
Hmm.
Like, well, for me, it wasn't that hard. I would disconnect. I was like, I'm back home, man. I did my job. I went over there, did it. Yeah, did I see some fucked up shit? Yeah, but I'm home. I was
Hmm.
like, and my thing is, some of us can do it, some can't. And the thing is,
That's true.
we think that sometimes we're okay, and I always say, people ask me, well, how are you? Honestly, man, ask my family. A lot of times we won't see it.
Mhm.
It's your
That's a
family,
good point.
your friends see it. Like, yeah, you're not the same. And so I never thought I had issues. Uh, but my wife would disagree. It's like we've had issues a long time ago. Uh, but the thing is, to look for that help, ask for that help. Sometimes, we're very prideful. A lot of, we are, and
That's
like,
true.
we can do this. It's like, I don't need help, man. No, I don't want to show weakness. Then sometimes, there's so many out there that claim to have it
Hmm.
are just saying it so they can get the sympathy or get benefits. And we all know they're bags like that,
Yep.
you know. And so a lot of times that causes guys and gals not to say anything because, like, I want people to think that I'm just faking and I'm being
Mm.
a douchebag. Uh, but I think until we kind of stop the guys that are faking it, so we can help the guys that really have it. I think that's where we'll be able to really start focusing on those guys with the mental health. 'Cause until then, man, you see. An example I like to say is like all these emotional support animals.
Hmm.
I've seen walking to Walmart, a lady walking in with a damn tiny horse. I
What?
was like, yeah. I was like, come on. Or you've heard of, people want to take a peacock on.
I
It's
was
my
just
emotion.
thinking that. Yes,
You
on the
know,
airplane.
until you get rid of
It's a
a guy,
peacock. You gotta let it fly.
right? Until you get rid of people like that, man, it takes away from people that really have it.
Hmm.
And I think that's what we got to do. I remember one time it was a Surgeon General. I was at some event and he started talking to me about, the whole mental health and PTSD. And I brought this up like, you guys. I was like, sir, I honestly want you to try an experiment. It's like, what's that? It's like, all these people, because, I even heard one time somebody say they have secondhand PTSD. I'm like, is that like secondhand smoke? you know? And and I was like, you know what? How about all the people that say they have it will help you? You get no extra pay.
Mm.
See how many people then say they have it. Because again, it takes away. We know we've experienced friends that truly have it,
Hmm.
and you're like, man, dude, it's like get the help. We're here to help you, and then you see the ones that they just fake it the funk, man, and for me, it just irks me. It,
Hmm.
it irks me when I see that because you're taking that help from someone that really needs it.
That's true. You know,
You know,
I've
and,
uh, I've seen airmen that have been in for just a couple of years and, you know, haven't gone anywhere, haven't really done anything, and their experience is BMT, tech school, duty station, and then they get discharged, and it's like, what are you getting discharged, med boarded for? And they say it's post traumatic stress, and they're rated 100%. It's reviewable, but it's 100%, and it's just like, dude, I know people that are like missing limbs and they don't even have 100%. It's like, how is this senior airman who's been in for a couple years, who's getting med boarded, getting 100% disability for post traumatic stress from what? And it is. And to me, I think, and there's some stories that I've heard over time, but like, it's like people know the right buzzwords to say when they walk into mental
right.
health or whatever. And that ends up being enough because how can you can't look at somebody's mental scars and then say, oh, they don't exist or they do exist, and some, like you said, and some you don't. But it's just, it does. I agree with you. It's like other people crying wolf, and then when the people who need the help, they try to go get it. Somebody's taken up an appointment, or it creates a stigma because you don't want to be seen as this POS, who may be faking it.
Yeah.
And go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say you're talking about like the buzzwords. Like I've heard of like a lot of like people about to retire or about to get out, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, make sure you tell them you have like tinnitus because they can't prove if you have it or not. Tell them you have like erectile dysfunction because that'll get you like 25%, and then you get cool pills. Like they'll just like tell them this, and this, and it's like, well, do you actually have it, or are you just saying it to get a quick buck or whatever? Like, how can it irks me? How can you do 20 years of service to your country, which in and of itself is like should be like a high honor, high value, that type of stuff, and then you immediately after you get out try to cheat your country? Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
We always like to say that, we're the military has a lot of honorable people, but we all know that not
Yeah,
not
that's
everyone in
true.
the military is honorable. There's plenty of instances where we guys get court-martialed for doing,
Hmm.
drug dealing to,
Yeah,
you know, for the
whatever.
sexual assaults or whatever.
Yeah,
Domestic
if we were
violence.
all honorable, you wouldn't need cops on every base.
Exactly.
Cool.
You know, but you just for us, you just trying to help the guys as much as you can, man. And again, you just can't do it on your own, and sometimes you just never know. This year, earlier this year, I lost a good friend, killed himself. Joe Cap. He's a ranger, wrote a book. He the first ranger uh, amputee to go back and deploy ever.
Wow.
And who would have thought he was going to kill himself?
Yeah.
You know, you just never know. And I remember talking to one of my SF buddies. We were all good friends. Dude, I couldn't believe Bill did that. I would never, out of all the people in the world, because again, we have friends that we know got to keep an eye on him because he's at that edge
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
she's at that edge. And, and he was one that I never thought he was at that edge.
Yeah.
And I remember my buddy Dave saying, "Hey, man, that's like DT. That's like getting a phone call that you did it. We never guessed you were going to do that."
Hmm.
And sometimes I told him also like I can understand maybe sometimes his where his mind went to be because when you're in that light,
Hmm.
Joe, myself and other individuals, you can't be regular Joe, you can't be regular DT anymore. You can't go downtown, act like a fool, get backed up drunk, and say dumb shit.
Right.
We just can't anymore. We're at a different light. Sometimes that gets to you because I can say that I've gotten to that point sometimes where I just want to be me, man. Like I just want to go downtown, get stupid drunk with my friends, in a fight maybe, and no
Yeah.
one know who I am.
Hmm.
I understand that. Uh, Maybe that's where Joe was at. I told my buddy, I was like, just he was tired of it. He just wanted to be him. He didn't want to be
Wow.
that limelight, and that's why you have to have
Sad.
friends. You got to have teammates talk to them. As much as we want to think we're Superman, nah, man. We all have our breaking point. The thing is, we're gonna look for that help when we need it, or we're gonna have a
Hmm.
family there.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
Joe had a family, had two little boys, man. It just
that's
sucks,
so.
man.
That's really sad. I mean, like, what advice would you give somebody who was going through something, maybe to encourage them to go seek help?
My suggestion was like, don't be afraid. It's like we've all had our down moments. We've all had where you're just breaking down and you wish you died. I had mine.
Hmm.
Obviously, you guys read in the book, but having that one person being there, man, and talking to you and saying, man, you got this. You can beat this. Believe in yourself. Uh, get that help. It means a lot because again, we just can't do it on our own, man. We just can't. We all need help. If you don't want to ask your wife, husband, your kids, talk to your teammates. Want to talk to your teammates? Talk to your brother or sister. Want to talk to your mom or dad? Talk to your grandpa. Talk to your mentor, someone that you talk to, and it's like, and he'll be there because we all have them. all have that one or two people that we know if we like, dude, I need to talk. I got you.
Hmm.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
And that's my best advice I can give them is like, don't let the stigma get to you. Uh, we've all been there. The thing is, are we gonna let it beat it? Are we gonna let it beat us? Or are we gonna beat it?
I
I
really like.
prefer,
Go ahead.
I'd rather be that person beating it than it beating me.
Absolutely. I like what you said about believing in yourself because I think that is a piece of resiliency that doesn't get mentioned enough. Is that there is a self piece that has to come into play at some point to believe in yourself, like you said, and you have to build that up inside of yourself. And reaching out and getting help and the support from other people, it helps, but ultimately you have to be able to stand up on your own. And so I like that, people encouraging you to believe in yourself, and then to see yourself, give yourself love and see yourself as a good person, or whatever. I think that is such an important piece that doesn't get mentioned enough, so I'm really glad that you said that.
Yeah, and because again, it does. You need to. People can help you as much as they can.
Hmm.
Eventually, you have to kind of get over that hump. It's like, okay, I got this.
It's
It's
true.
like, I can burden this. I can overcome this. I can beat this. And that was another big reason I did the book. And because I
Hmm.
said, young airman,
Yeah.
I always, I always bring that back to that young airman. The young airman, there was no life left until
Yeah.
she heard my story.
That's pretty incredible.
And sometimes it just takes that you hearing the story.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
That's true.
I can do it. I can do it. And that's what I hope, this book does, be able to not only honor my dad and the promise I made to him, but be able to, help people based on that promise that I made to my dad.
I think you've done an outstanding job capturing that in your book.
I appreciate that. The cool thing. One thing I really wanted to get out of this book is like I wanted it to sound like me, and like if I'm talking to you, and
Hmm.
the feedback I've gotten from like the people that I kind of gave them advanced copies, like this book, and I didn't say anything. I was like, I just wanted to hear what you think.
Hmm. Candidly.
It
Mhm.
sounds like you. It sounds like you're telling the story.
That's awesome.
Like, good. That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
I just, I didn't
Sounds
want it
relatable.
to, I didn't want it to sound phony. I didn't want it to sound robotic. I'm like, you know, throw the cuss words in there because I swear, throw the, probably inappropriate jokes,
Gotta
but
be
hey,
genuine. You gotta
gotta
be
be genuine
genuine.
because
It's
I'm,
good though, because I've never had a conversation with you before or anything like that, and after reading parts of the book, and then now have talking with you, like yeah, it's you. You wrote that book for sure, so
I
it's definitely
appreciate,
you.
I appreciate you guys, reading it and hopefully enjoying it.
Hmm.
You know, uh,
Of course.
or at least lie to me that you enjoyed it.
No lie.
Yeah. But it is it hasn't hit me yet. People always keep asking me how's it feels like I don't know. It's like
Hmm.
because yeah, I got kind of the advanced copy, but it's not like the hardcover where it has
Still
the
Yeah,
out
photos,
further.
has everything. You
yeah.
know, I tell people actually it's more right now more a pain in the butt because
Hmm.
doing all this marketing, promoting it, and one of my friends he told me, DT, it's kind of like like having a baby. I'm like, huh? You're going through that pregnancy, that labor, it sucks, but the baby's born, like your book's out. It's so joyful.
Okay.
And I'm like, it's like, you know what, Brandy? I was like, I'm not going to use that analogy.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll let you use that because if I try to use
Sure.
it, my gonna bust my chops. And my female friends are like,
Exactly.
are you really trying to compare your book release to a
Hmm.
pregnancy, to
Yep.
giving birth? I'm like, Me, man, I'm not trying to. My friend used that analogy. I understand it, but I'm not going to use it.
Man, you made me think of a funny story. I had an airman come in with his wife after she gave birth, and he was talking to our CSS, trying to do his paternity leave, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we just had a baby," and his wife goes, "We didn't have a baby. I had a baby." You know, and I was like, "That's right. She had the baby. You were there, right?" So,
Yeah, we'll get checked real quick.
yeah, exactly. It always made me
So
laugh thinking
I was
about
like, you
that.
use that analogy. I won't
Yeah,
use it. You want to say it?
exactly.
I'll tell the funny story about it, but I'm not going to
Yeah.
say, yeah,
Yeah.
my book's like giving birth to a baby.
Right. Yeah. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about that.
The
All
I've seen
right.
it happen, but I didn't do
It
the
it.
happens.
the the spouse
Shakespeare.
definitely has the baby. You're there as the emotional support peacock. That's all you are.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man.
Maybe that emotional support peacock might have caused the reason why she's in that area right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. It took two to tango, and you
Right.
were a
Eh?
pretty
Right.
big piece.
Yeah.
You
Right.
probably
Yeah.
convinced her, had a good night,
Put
All
some work.
right.
Put in the work.
Yeah, yeah. The all 3 seconds.
All right.
Oh, dude.
Oh
There
my
you
God.
go.
It's a great time. Uh, I was gonna ask you something, and it left my mind the second I said emotional support peacock. Oh, that's what it was. Um, so obviously, you've been retired for a while. We're talking about like mental health and resiliency and stuff. To kind of add more of like a positive note to some of like the more sadder stuff we're talking about. What are some like great experiences that kind of you just had like with your spouse, that you had with your kid, like stuff that you just love doing while living?
For me, it was on like for me and my son, it was us watching like the Bears. I'm from Chicago, where
Yeah.
The Bears.
me sitting down and me and my boy putting on his jersey, the season starting, I want to say this was probably first season when I finally was kind of strong enough to enjoy it, not going through therapy,
Mm-hmm.
just sitting and him, there's even I think a photo of us where we got our Bears jerseys like, let's go Bears, let's go Bears. That's probably one of the cool experiences or or him hitting his first home run. I remember
Oh
that was,
man.
seeing that, I was like, yeah, that's my boy.
Hell yeah.
For my wife, I would say is like watching her navigate this journey. And my wife, is maybe 105 soaking wet, and seeing how strong she was, to be able to handle what she did. She's from Mexico, she didn't know any English when I got hurt. Then to see her go to get her GED, first learn to speak English, get fluent enough to go get her GED, and then become a U.S. citizen. And she was already a hairstylist in Mexico. She had her own salon, but here in the States, she needed more hours. You know how that goes. Each state,
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, you need a
Yeah.
different license or different hours.
Yeah.
Sure.
So she's like, you know what? I'll just take the whole thing all over again. Watching her,
Wow.
getting, her license in the States is probably such a cool. Watching my wife do that is
Seeing her succeed.
amazing. Yeah. So those moments are pretty awesome. Watching my son hit his first home run. Us watching the Bears. Watching my wife go through her journey and seeing her how the amazing woman she is now. Those it's so worth being here and enjoying those moments, man. It's so much. It so really is.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that feels fantastic. Like when you said earlier about your life flashing before your eyes, and it was the moments that you wanted to have, and now you're living those. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. My next moment will be probably when I see my son graduate college next year. That'll be probably up there.
Yeah.
It's it is it's a cool journey. Definitely
Yeah.
is. It really is. And
Life is a
Life
again,
is
journey.
a journey.
would 22-year-old DT, when he joined the military, think he would be this person? Not at all. I thought myself, I'll do my time, get out, and be back in Chicago doing something. I would have thought this would be my life, bro. And
that
totally feel like Forrest Gump sometimes. I really do.
yeah,
Again, I'm at the White House.
I met the president again. Yeah. Yeah. Dude, oh man.
Gen A.
Gen A, yeah. DT.
It's great. It's great. And then jumping again was probably the next highlight of my life. Was being back in the air, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Underneath that parachute, nothing like it. Never thinking that I'll never be able to do that again, and then
Doing it.
finishing my career at the Wings of Blue at the parachute team at the Air Force Academy.
Yeah, because weren't you you were the first 100% like disabled like veteran to come back to full active service, right?
Yeah, well, first one in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Luckily, there's other guys have been able to come back, and I always like to just like, man, being the first is cool. Sometimes I just want to be like number 10, things I kind of already set up. And I just walk, breezing through, not go through all the hassle.
You don't want to always be the trendsetter for stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
I just be the mediocre guy that kind of just walking the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what's nice is you crawled so others could run through it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. There you go.
Like I'm that car in NASCAR. I'm in the lead, and the other
Yeah.
people are in my draft. So
Yeah.
eventually you're able to pass me.
There you go.
Yeah. They needed
Good way to
you.
look at it.
They needed you to win.
like the great prophet Ricky Bobby said, "You ain't first, you're last."
Your last. Hell yeah.
Great prophet.
That you kind of touched on it, but it's a question I have kind of gotten into the habit of liking to ask people. But what advice would you give, like you said, that 20-something DT now, the life you've lived thus far? What advice would you give him if you could give him a piece of advice?
What I would give him is like, oh, I learned this like right before I headed out on my last deployment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all about you. Because, when I was a young, right in the middle of my career, I was nonstop doing all the cool guy stuff. And so I'm growing up without knowing who I really was. So I was always gone. And it took my wife to tell me, it's like, your son's growing up without you. I always say you never let that happen, but he is. He doesn't know you. You're home for a couple months and then you're gone for a couple more months. So that would probably be my biggest advice to him. Is like, my 22-year-old self is like, you want to do all the cool guy stuff, do it when you're single, and realize it's not all about you. You get married and start having kids, it's about them. And I think that was another big thing why I wanted to include my wife's story in my book, because we sometimes forget, or the public sometimes forgets about our families. They focus so much on the service member, they forget about our family who are right there next to us. And I like to say they see us at our worst. Doesn't have to be at our worst like being in a coma, but at our worst coming back and not being the same. Again, advice like, not about you, man. Think about them.
I really like that.
Fortunately, my wife was able to kick me in the ass and make me realize that. For a while, it was just about me doing the job and me doing all the cool guys.
A good
I
woman
think
will
we've
do
all,
that for you.
and I
Yeah.
think we've all been there. We've
Yeah.
all been in that situation where like, I want to do all this fun, cool stuff, and then you're like, oh shit, I'm married, or oh, I got kids. You
Yeah.
know, I get it. You know, yeah, that would be my biggest advice. Like, hey, man,
I like that a
I
lot.
think,
That resonates well. I was just I was a best man at one of my buddy's weddings a couple almost like a month and a half, 2 months ago now. And during my speech, I told him, I was like, his name's Ty. I was like, Ty, all your decisions, everything you do, it no longer just affects Ty. It affects Ty and Sarah. It affects Ty, Sarah, and any future kids you have. So even the smallest decisions of what time do I wake up, what am I gonna buy at Walmart or whatever, it doesn't just affect you anymore. It affects your family, your group, your your tribe. So yeah, definitely
Yeah, no kidding.
making sure you.
and and it's very true.
Mhm.
There's times where like, as much as we want to think that we make all decisions, we're the man, blah blah blah. Of getting something done in the house, I'm like,
Hmm.
"Hey, let's go with this." Like, I was like, hold on, let me go ask the boss if this is okay.
Yeah,
If this is the
Us.
right color or right
Yeah.
yeah,
location, she
yes.
may
So
not agree,
it's your off-duty supervisor.
right?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So Israel, we've really enjoyed speaking with you today. It's been a ton of fun.
Heck yeah.
You're great to speak with. It makes sense why you're a public speaker, obviously.
Uh,
Your book, A Patriot's Promise, is going to drop, I believe, on the 4th of July. Correct?
the July, yeah,
That's so
Awesome,
awesome.
Independence Day. With it coming out soon, so you wrote your book. Everything's good to go. Before we kind of end this, I got one final thing for you. Looking ahead, what are your aspirations for your future, and kind of what do you hope this book to um, kind of make impacts and stuff like that? What are you looking to see, hopefully, with this book coming out?
you know, uh, honestly, for me, honor my dad really, the ability to honor it and to help as many people out there, man, to know that it's like you can, yes, there may be a lot of obstacles thrown in front of you, but your mind's a very powerful thing. And if you don't quit right here and you find that spark in here, overcome it, man. You'll beat those odds. And yeah, you can't do it alone. You'll have friends that help you on your way, on your journey. With all that combination, man, beat it. And you'll come out ahead and you will be resilient and you will continue to enjoy life. And that is the goal of my book, to be able to do that. And again, like I said earlier, honor my pops, man, because my dad was my hero. He was everything to me, and to people know that those last words he gave me to shape who I am and who I became, to be able to know him is important to me. And if it becomes a bestseller, cool. If it doesn't, but if it helps that one person really needs it, I'm cool with that too, man.
That's a
So
win.
it's all that's important to me.
You are an awesome person, DT.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. It's been a blast, BSing with you guys, especially making me forget about don't use your toilet or any water for the
Yeah.
next 4 days. You
You
know?
just remembered it, so
Yeah.
sorry.
All right.
Yeah. We
You
shaved
made
some
me,
time off that.
you made me forget about that for a while, so I appreciate that. Much,
There we
much
go.
love for you guys.
Hell
And
yeah.
and I hope you guys really did enjoy the book, man. And I hope it gave you a
Yes.
little bit insight of who I am or how I came to be the person I am and
Definitely.
why I do what I do.
Yeah, for sure.
100%.
So, for everyone listening, so Patriots Promise, you can get it on Independence Day. Be an American and go buy it. And then make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Use our codes to get coffee. Came with Fire with Red Clover coffee, or use our codes to get clothes. Fire 10. But that's it for us today. Really appreciate you guys listening. Thanks, DT. And of
Thank
course,
you.
Gresham, you look very handsome. So, out.